What's up, North County? I'm your host, Randy Doty, and today we have on the show Cara Crye with Farm Supply. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Randy. Thanks for having me.
You bet. So Farm Supply, we love Farm Supply.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about the business and where we've been and where we're at now.
Okay, great. Well, the thing that I'm most proud of that I always want to talk about first is that not everyone knows that Farm Supply is a local farmer-owned co-op. So we started in 1950. So we've been on the Central Coast for over 72 years. We're really proud of that. We actually started by the board of directors of San Luis Obispo County Farm Bureau. We broke off from that entity years ago, but the whole idea was back in 1950 was to be a sales and service co-op for the dairy farmers. Primarily during that time, there was a lot of dairies here on the Central Coast, and so they purchased supplies post-war to sell them to each other at the cost of doing business in a cooperative fashion. Yep. So that's how it began.
That's awesome. And where was that first location?
So the first location, if I remember right, it was a 12 by 10-foot building or room, I guess we could say, on South Higuera in San Luis Obispo.
Okay.
And then we've had a few locations in San Luis, one owned by Farm Bureau on Tank Farm Road, closer to Broad Street. And then in 2004, Farm Supply opened their own facility there, still on Tank Farm Road, closer to Higuera Street.
That's
so
awesome.
We've been in San Luis since 1950. In 1977, we had an opportunity to expand and open up a facility in Paso Robles, first on Paso Robles Street, and then in the last 10 years moved to Ramada Drive.
Right. Okay, I remember that.
Yeah.
So now you guys have Paso, San Luis,
Arroyo Grande, Santa Maria, and Buellton.
Oh, you have one down in Buellton too?
We do. So, we like to think we cover about a 90-mile corridor on the Central Coast. So we can provide those products and services, North Monterey County, San Luis Obispo County, and Northern Santa Barbara County.
That's awesome. And so every time I've been in Farm Supply, I mean, everybody is super helpful, super nice. And it's almost like, it's family, like when you walk in, everybody's like giggling and, having a good time. So obviously that's, a family-owned business.
Yeah. And by family, we say that we're owned by over 2,300 farmers and ranchers in this community. So if you're involved in production agriculture, if any percentage of your income comes from agriculture, you qualify to be a member owner of our co-op. So we're governed by a 9-member board of directors. So, let's say you have, you're raising 50 head of cattle up here. You would fill out a 1-page membership application, and in our monthly board meeting, our board of directors would vote if you qualify for membership or not.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And then the way it works is once you qualify for membership, with what you spend with Farm Supply during that calendar year, you're going to get a percentage of that back in a patronage dividend refund check. So for example, in 2022, Farm Supply gave back $350,000 investing back into our local ag community with the dividends we paid back to the members of our co-op.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I had no idea about that. That's something that everybody should know about.
Definitely. And then if you don't qualify for membership, if you're involved in some other industry in our community, you live in a cul-de-sac, you have a ranchette, maybe 2 to 5 acres, we really do feel like there's something for everyone. Irrigation, fencing, clothing, pet, bird seed, a variety of products we have. And I like to tell people that by shopping at Farm Supply, even if you're not a member, you're supporting our local ag community.
So what else? You have an event coming up that we're going to talk about.
We do. So it's the 17th annual Great Pumpkin Contest.
Okay.
So this is a super fun event. We invite everyone to show up. It's at the Mission Plaza, downtown San Luis Obispo on Thursday, October 20th. Very fun contest that we partnered with Farm Bureau 17 years ago, and then now Farm Supply, is the event holder for the entire event. However, we have lots of great sponsors that help us out. JB Doer, Farm Credit West, PRP, so on. Cal Poly, we have a lot of representation from Cal Poly. And I look at it as a vehicle to take agriculture downtown. And if showcasing giant pumpkins, beautiful pumpkins, most unusual pumpkins is a way we can educate our community about agriculture and growing, we're all about it. So it's a fun event for the family to come down on October 20th from 4 to 7 at the Mission Plaza.
So when you say giant pumpkin, is that those ones that somebody's growing, they're however making these things as big as they get.
It is fascinating, Randy, what I've learned about raising giant pumpkins over the last 17 years. For example, if you go online right now to buy a single pumpkin seed, one seed, right, that your gopher could eat potentially when you put it in the ground, that seed could cost you anywhere between $100 to a couple $1,000s. I know.
Really?
One seed. People are serious about this. There's a world champion contest in Half Moon Bay, I believe, if you look that up, where people have grown over 2,000-pound pumpkins.
Oh my gosh.
We have had close to a 1,000-pound pumpkin at our contest. This was a handful of years ago. And it's a challenge for people. There's a couple local growers here in North County that have been very successful in our contest over the years. And they'll tell you they have some real theories or techniques that they use to raise these giants, anywhere from rotating your pumpkin as it gets bigger, to putting a blanket on your pumpkin.
Oh my goodness.
To cutting all the other pieces of fruit off, right? All the other starts, so that one vine is only feeding that one pumpkin. And when they get towards the end of that growing cycle, I believe they can grow to 20 to 30 pounds a day.
So that's different than just like your standard old pumpkin seeds.
It's
not somebody
different.
just all of a sudden this pumpkin. Everybody has like watermelons that went super huge, tiny. So this is like specific.
They're specifically grown for a giant. This is probably not the pumpkin seed you want to like pop in your mouth. You know, you're probably going to want to save that for growing.
Right.
So it is a different type of seed, you know, versus what we see when we go to local pumpkin patches and buy a couple pumpkins, you know, for our front porch for, you know, fall or
that's
Halloween.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So participants, how do they get involved with that?
Great question. So if you go to Farm Supply's website, farmsupplycompany.com, the application is uploaded on our website. Always information on our Facebook and Instagram pages. Also in store, you can get information there to enter our contest, and we would love as many people as possible to enter. The contest is local, so the pumpkin does have to be grown in our local counties to qualify.
Okay. So once they get there, what happens from that point? They go to judges and
so it's a pretty intense contest, Randy. I'm not going to lie. There's a lot goes on. We want to make sure that the right person, you know, wins. So the Central Coast Scales donates a scale that day. The County Weights and Measures comes out, calibrates the scale. We have a forklift on site because these are heavy pumpkins. We want people to be safe, and so with students' help from Cal Poly, they help us put the pumpkin on the scale. It is weighed, and so basically we just go down the line to see who has raised the heaviest pumpkin.
Oh my gosh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's fun.
But Farm Supply, I mean, really, you guys are involved with a lot of events. I mean, not just, it seems like something is always happening with Farm Supply.
Definitely. So, you know, being so deeply rooted in this community for 72 years, we care about what goes on in our community, right? The people that work for us, they're involved in the community, our membership. And so one of our core values is to be deeply rooted in the community. First and foremost, we like to sponsor causes for youth and agriculture. You know, it's a way that we can continue to perpetuate all the good work that's happening in our industry. Mm-hmm. So you'll see our causes first and foremost go back to youth and ag, which would be, for example, the Mid-State and the Santa Barbara County Fairs. We want to show up, support those kids that are showing animals that have worked hard for months to come to the big show and show off what they've done. And so we have a booth on site where supplies for the kids. We're going to show up at the auction and partner with as many other local businesses as we can to purchase animals. And then we always put on this fun quiz jam event every year, which again comes with a lot of fantastic local sponsors and vendors that Farm Supply has sponsorships with. And it is a timed team event where these kids are running a race in the arena, having different types of ag-related challenges.
So the one thing I want to point out with Farm Supply, you know, I'm a customer, not only is it just farm feed, that kind of stuff. I mean, you have, you know, Western wear, you have, you have cooking, outdoor cooking, you know, supplies, you have seasonings, you have dog, you know, treats and biscuits. And I mean, you have a whole gamut of things. I mean, you're a full, not only, you know, the feed supply and, you know, typical ranch, you know, needs. I mean, you fit every aspect of life for a country rancher.
You're right. And you know, that is one of the things we feel so strongly about our name, that we are Farm Supply. And so we're not changing our name. We've been here so many years, but we also acknowledge that some people think, well, what does Farm Supply have for me? I'm not a farmer or a rancher. And you know, the evolution of Farm Supply has been genius, in my opinion, way before I showed up, although I have been there over 26 years. So I'm also very proud of that. And it started as I mentioned earlier, our foundation was to provide supplies to local dairies. As we know now, the only existing dairy in our community is at Cal Poly. And so the leaders before me were smart to think, how can we keep our doors open in this community? What does this community need? And so that's how the business evolved. So I always say it was simple as dairy supplies we started out with, you know, and then it was chemicals and fertilizer and seed. And then they realized, gosh, well, every rancher or farmer that comes in has a dog. So why don't we put this pallet of dog food out by the front counter and see how that goes? Luckily, everyone's wearing clothing. Why don't we add a clothing department? And so really that has been the evolution of our company. And I do feel that we have so much to offer now for the homeowner as well. And it's, you know, quality products. Our mission is to provide exceptional customer service and quality products. So when you come to us, it's not going to be apples to apples at what you might get at some of our competitors, because we're selling a professional grade. In our irrigation, in our fencing, feed, seed, anything that you're looking at. So, you know, we're glad that we have that much diversity to offer.
Awesome. Cara, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for
really
having
appreciate
me.
it and telling us all about Farm Supply.
Thank you.
And the big pumpkin contest.
And the Great Pumpkin Contest, October 20th, Mission Plaza.
Well, there you have it, guys. Make sure you stop into Farm Supply and register for the Great Pumpkin Contest. And make sure you support them for all your agricultural needs.